Ford Econoline. This video is in conjunction with the video that you saw earlier about the ending result after adding foam insulation to the unknown or most overlooked section of the air box. The air box, when you put your AC on normal, most people don't know, why is my air so hot and why do I smell engine oil and why do I smell contents from under the hood here? Why am I getting that in the vents inside the vans and certain vehicles? Why is that happening when I put it on outside normal air? And I just think that with the AC on and off, why is that happening? And most people don't know, including me. It took me almost 10 years to actually take a really good look and find out that there's a gap right underneath here that is now filled. You'll see the other parts. That foam right there, I glued all the way around. I fished it from behind, as you see in another video where I'm trying to fish it behind. It's a little bit older video, but this is the complete ending. And I used Weatherstrip Adhesive to hold that on. Weatherstrip Adhesive is a really strong substance. And that foam is there to stay. And that shields, that was a big old gap like that. And in the back it was even bigger. That shields all of this engine heat from getting sucked into the AC box instead of right here, through here, where air is cooler.
So you're basically getting hot air.
So I'm instead of breathing engine air from the engine, when I put it on outside normal, outside air for the vans, I didn't even realize that. And so I looked at the 1997 and I noticed that its foam was missing too. And the
07, you mean?
The 07, yeah. Sorry. This is the 99. The 07, I looked at it and its foam was gone too. And I looked at other people's Econolines and their foam was missing too. So if they weren't running on max, on an AC dial turned to max, they were actually getting excessive heat from the engine compartment, because vans run hot. I mean, they're in a tight, closed space. So they were getting that, plus they were getting all kinds of smells and different things, and they were getting that heat. So it was fighting the AC system. So once we put this foam rubber on there, our outside air, setting it on normal,
finally came from right there.
The dial, setting it on normal, we were getting much colder air on normal, which is the way that it should have been from the beginning, and it was from the factory. And so just by overlooking all this covered up with all the wiring and stuff back here, and to prove it to you, we'll take a walk over to the 07. Notice that this is white, okay? So that you can differentiate the difference in vehicles. Stop it. Okay, back at the 07 now. You notice the 07's been sitting under the tree for a while. It starts right up and ready to go. You know it's an 07 by the grill look. You know, based on the mass airflow sensor box and all that, it's an 07 because it's plastic and not metal. Those are differences. Couple other differences: oil cap,
rear AC hookup,
rear AC, right, as it goes and splits off into the rear. Look at our box here now. Okay, you have a light you can turn on?
No, but I do have a visual of it.
You have a visual? Everybody else have a visual?
Yep.
Okay, so now there's some foam added by me, and it's holding, and it's been that way for about a year, and we are good. That is some foam rubber put in there the same way. I took one of those foam noodles that insulate pipes and I cut it like you saw in the previous, or in the video that'll be attached to this video. And we had to make it the right thickness to squeeze it in there, and we used, I think we used a pair of hemostats or a long flathead screwdriver to fish it around. You could use a coat hanger, you could use different things to grab it and pull it around. You're going to have to be creative with that. But all you really got to do is unbolt this and move this stuff to the side. Don't really take anything else off. Maybe unclip this wire loom right here and move that down, and then you can reach that. And you can get in there, and you pretty much got to be good with your hands and be like a surgeon and get it all in there. And then once you're done, you make them meet in the middle, and you hold them together while the Weatherstrip adhesive dries. And once that's done, you got a gasket again without removing all of this stuff, because that's a nightmare.
Then normal AC works as expected.
Then normal AC goes back to the way it was factory, and it makes a big difference. And I've even noticed the difference in Max AC, because Max AC as well, Max AC works better too now, because
It's not taking in that hot air.
well, when you go to Max AC, it sucks recirc under the floor by your feet. Now Max AC works better because sometimes that door flap in there gets old and doesn't completely seal off that. So you're still getting a little heat from this area or this area. So even Max AC works better now. And so now both of these fans have comparable ACs working at their maximum capacity, especially if you look at my other video back talking about adding an HD fan clutch. Go into the auto parts store, instead of buying a regular fan clutch, buy a heavy duty fan clutch that's stiffer. And the HD fan clutch really cools these vehicles off at red lights, traffic, and on the road. And with 100-degree weather, and expected to go up 100 plus now, and this new climate garbage that they're pushing on us down our throats, whether you believe in it or you don't, or you believe it's man-made or it's man-contracted, whatever you believe, we're still suffering heat waves like this. And to keep cool, this is what I think you ought to take a look into if you're interested in working on that. So, all right, guys, thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks, fan enthusiast. And keep those Econolines on the road. Okay, we got some 4th gen Econoline problems here with the AC. You put it on AC norm, we're getting kind of not as cold as air as we should through the AC. On max, of course, we're doing okay. On norm, we're not doing so well. We're also getting a lot of windshield fog after a rain. Thought maybe it was a leaking windshield that somebody put in. Well, I discovered Econoline's AC box weak point after having another 4th gen round, Econoline, and discovered that the AC boxes are pretty much all built the same, whether it's dual rear AC, rear and front, or just front. We got a weak point right here of failure, which is this gasket right here. If you look at it, you can see it. There's a gasket right here underneath here that binds the two together. Now when you put it, see there's a big gap right there. You see that big gap? And when you, here, let me get a better light in there. You see it? See that big old gap? Now when you put it on max AC, or when you first turn the truck on, the fan heat from underneath the engine bay here goes in there and mixes with the moisture that drained down through, and it's trying to drain out the AC condensation, mixing together and causing a foggy windshield upon first startup and for the first 20 minutes or so. That was my discovery with this. So then I decided to compare it to my older 99. Stop that for a minute. So here we are on the older 99, the one we replaced the engine and rebuilt the transmission in, the Super Duty. And we discovered we have no gasket. And we haven't had a gasket for some time, for as long as I can remember. This meant that the outside air, when it was put on AC norm, selected, was sucking air straight from underneath here under the engine bay and not up top here through the louvers, where it should. It should be sucking air from up here for outside air. Instead, it's sucking the hot engine air, competing with the AC and giving us problems with cooling off on AC norm. So, thus far, the discovery is real simple. The reason the other windshield is fogging up more than this one does is because this one's just getting a clean air rate throughout the entire system, straight across.
Missing the whole gasket.
Missing the whole gasket, so the windshield's not going to fog up much at all. But AC norm is a moot point. You might as well just put it on vent. So that's what we discovered on that. That's why this windshield isn't giving us a fog up problem.
Right there.
Because it's missing. Now the other 07 Econoline did great on AC norm. It was pretty cool, and it was sucking from outside until I put a new fan clutch on it and got more flow through the radiator, but put more pressure on that gasket. And that gasket blew a hole through the side of it, and my finger did the rest. It's real loose. So that tells me that my AC norm is going to quit working so well on the 07. But also, if I don't get rid of the gasket or replace the gasket, I'm going to get a fog in the windshield upon startup after a rain or after water goes through the box or condensation. So I have to make a decision: get rid of the gasket, lose the gasket, or seal it up. So I'm going to seal them both up, and you're going to come on a ride with me to figure out how to do that in a second, because that's a pretty big gap. I mean, it looks like at least a 1-inch gap, right? I mean, that's a good 1-inch gap, at least a 3/4 inch gap. So how are we going to seal that up all the way around, even into the back? Look, you can see a gasket back there too, back by the firewall. I imagine a lot of that trash got thrown into the blower motor at one time and caused the blower motor to wobble, the wheel to wobble. Alright, first thing we're going to do is get rid of the windshield washer tube. Windshield washer tube out of the way. Put that to the side there. See if we can move the windshield washer tube without damaging it. Put it under the battery cable here. But at the same time, we expose that gasket. See it falling apart right here in the front? That's sucking nothing but hot air.
Well, you can see it's
Let's see how shitty it is now. Jeez.
It's just ripping apart, ain't it?
Yeah, it's garbage. Look.
Oh, yeah.
And that's 07, and that's extremely brittle and falling apart. I mean, that's just a really bad design. I still like my Fords, but geez, and that's. And then look, we're loose up here at the top.
The other one isn't loose.
That mounts to the top here of the truck. Now you can pull this plug here and get to that, but there's not much you can do to stop it. I guess that bolts up there some kind of way.
Yeah, that, yeah, nasty.
And so you got this saturated with water. Look at that saturated with water. Look.
Yeah.
You know why that is, right? Running down here, fan motor blowing it back of that away.
Also getting water on the inside a little bit.
No, not really. It's just trying to go through that box right there. You got to understand, this fan clutch is strong. It's a heavy-duty fan clutch, and it's blowing pressure this way, and it's blowing any water that ran down here when it rained. Down here, it's blowing it back that way. Okay. Also, AC condensation. It's also blowing through there because we only had one side open here. If we were to open this whole thing up, it would blow past it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how the other van is. The other van's just blowing straight past, so it's not blowing water in because it has its gasket gone completely, even in the back. So, it's the best way to do this. She's soaking wet. So, the best way to do this would probably be to either get rid of the gasket, like I told you,
or just stick with max and vent.
Yeah, stick with max and vent. Here, let me get rid of this wire and harness. Alright, pull that down out of the way. So it's either get rid of max and vent, or move that around a bit and work around it. Let's push that down. So your choices are really limited. Replace the gasket
or lose it.
But if you have half a gasket like I did, you're going to have nothing but water shoved back in there. Now, somebody could take duct tape, I imagine, and try to tape this up, but you know that's going to come off in about a week. I don't care what kind of duct tape you use, unless it's that flex tape or whatever, that flex crap.
That
but
flex
if
seal.
Yeah, but if you can get that in here, I don't know that you can. All right, pull that back a little bit. Now we can get our hand in here and check out what we got. Look at that shit. Alright. So we would clean this, right?
Mm-hmm. We would make a gasket, pretty much.
Well, I bet we can make a gasket and we could shove it in there tight enough to get cold air without water flowing past it.
Yeah.
Now we still have a partial gasket in the back, but on the other van we're going to have our work cut out for us. The one in the back's still kind of pliable, I guess because of the heat of the engine bay. Wasn't plastering heat against it. So what can we use to cover that 1-inch gap?
Well, someone could probably...
How about we practice with this right here? How would we practice with this? How would we do that? Is this about a 1-inch? What if I create a wedge? Alright? If I take this and create a wedge of foam like this.
Yeah.
Now look, I'll start at 1/2 inch and then go up to 1.25 inches right here if I cut it like that, right?
So a wedge is inside.
So if maybe I could wedge it,
Use a little bit of glue to keep it in there.
I could use some 3M adhesive maybe at the bottom of one end and then let the top just kind of free float wedge, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see how this comes out, just for the hell of it.
It'll be long enough, that's for dang certain.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you could curve it, bend it. Let me see that. Alright, so that's our wedge point right there, right? Probably wedge that in there. And once it wedges, it'll seal up like that. It'll mash. It's pliable, right?
Yeah.
Now that should last a lot longer than duct tape, right?
Definitely. Especially if you had some lying around.
Dude, shine your light over here.
I imagine someone could do the same thing with Frost King, huh?
What? Household weather stripping?
What do you think?
I don't know if it's thick enough. You'd have to get something damn thick like this. I mean, that I can actually wedge in there pretty good. Look at that.
Huh.
What do you think?
Pretty easy, huh?
It is.
So what would you do? Spray one surface with glue, right? So that would kind of hold stuff in place?
Well, I'd probably hold it out like this and spray it. And then stick it on there and then pull it back off and let both sides dry like contact cement. And then go in there one time and one time only.
Yeah.
Or I could get stupid and put polyurethane on it.
Yeah,
it'll
never come off.
But what happens when this rots?
Right.
And we're stuck scraping polyurethane off, right?
Yeah.
So, it's our choice. But this is what we're tasked with. So this is the reason why AC norm on the Econoline doesn't blow right as cold as it should, because it's sucking air from the engine bay. It also is another reason why your foggy windshield occurs, and your windshield's not leaking, and you're not leaking coolant, and your heater core is okay, and you've checked all those problems and you don't know what's going on. That's one of the things. And that only usually occurs the first 20 minutes of driving until it clears up. Okay, so that was just some tips on what to do. Now we got a smaller piece we could try to cut and see if we can wedge that in. Smaller in diameter, which would give us a different setup. Maybe you could let that dog out in a minute. Here, let's see. Let's try a smaller piece, right? You gotta keep like a 1-inch contour cut.
Arts and crafts tag.
Yeah, shut up. Alright, let's see. Damn Econoline. Well, at least the AC problem for the summertime will be kind of corrected. We got 2 pieces cut. We tried the thick one. That wedged in there pretty nice and pretty tight. Now let's try this one, see if we can get that one in there. You light me up? Okay. Wish we had more room to work. I guess somebody would pull the battery and all that shit out. That seemed like it'd be a pain in the ass.
That's if you wanted to replace the entire box.
Hey dude, that's not too bad either, look.
No.
And it's got a stopping point right there, this lip. So it's not going to suck it into the blower motor, right?
No, it's not. I'm not going to pull it past.
Right, because your only lip stop is right here. It's the only part where your lip stops. So I imagine we could probably go all the way with it if I can dry this shit up. It's all soaking wet. Alright, let's dry this up and let's just start. Let's do like they do in Europe and give it a go. Alright, let's see. one more time. What would you use, the thicker piece or this piece?
I would almost use that piece right there.
Really? Let's push it under the plastic. Looks like it wedges under the plastic pretty well.
Does it hold that top piece in better?
Well, it's pushing up on the top, right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually it is. Shine light over here. Let's check that out. Look at that shit. No more monkeys jumping on the bed. Check that out. Baby shark. Alright, look. Fix that shit like Djibouti dubs. Alright, bro. You can cut it off. That's our conclusion for our video.
You gotta dry it up.
Dry it up. Blow dry it. I don't know. Somebody blow on it. Get it dry. That's that. Let's glue it down. Wipe it off with some alcohol. Get the surface clean, ready to go. And so we can seal that up and stop this shit. Be nice to go all the way around it, wouldn't it?
It would, huh? Toward the back too.
Yeah, I don't think this piece is long enough. It might make that loop. You think?
Nah, I think it's a little shorter.
Yeah, me too. But we could meet somewhere halfway and then run a bead of
Urethane on that.
urethane on that, right?
Yeah, just a small little dot.
All right.
Just enough to stick them together.
Okay. All right, well, that works. I mean, this is probably the thinner piece, the thinner noodle, as they would call this. This is really black pipe insulation. The thinner noodle was probably better for getting it in there properly all the way around. Now, as far as leaks go, well, we'd have to find that out later after it's mashed down good. This one would definitely stop the leak all the way around, but it would put constant pressure down on the box. Try it again. The thicker one. Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot thicker, and it's a lot harder to install, but it works. I wonder if that one would pop out on us. You know what? Shine it up in there. Let's see how thick the back noodle is. You know what? I'm going to use the thicker piece.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm not going to take any chances. I'm going to use the thicker piece, and I'm going to go all the way in there.
Let's try it, Don.
All right. All right, bro. Peace.